भगवते वासुदेवाय।
ॐ
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Okay, so today we're going to be reading from the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, text number 11, 10.11. Tesam eva anukampa artham aham ajnana jam tamaha nasayami atma bhava stita jnana dipena bhashvatah tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashyami atam atma bhavastasto jnana dipena bhashvatah tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashyami atma bhavastasto jnana dipena bhashvatah tesham eva anukampartham aham ajnanajam tamaha nashyami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashvatah Word for word translation. Tesam, for them. Eva, certainly. Anukampartham, to show special mercy. Aham, I. Ajnanajam, due to ignorance. Tamaha, darkness. Nashayami, dispel. Atma bhava, within their hearts. Stita, situated. Jnana, of knowledge. Dipena, with the lamp. श्री भक्तिवेदांता स्वामी प्रभुपाद श्री प्रभुपाद की Translation. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Please repeat after me. To show them special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroy with the shining lamp of knowledge the darkness born of ignorance. Okay, perfect. When Lord Chaitanya was in Benaras promulgating the chanting of the Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, thousands of people were following him. Ananda Saraswati, a very influential and learned scholar in Banaras at that time, derided Lord Chaitanya for being a sentimentalist. Sometimes Mayavadi philosophers criticize the devotees because they think that most of the devotees are in the darkness of ignorance and are philosophically naive sentimentalists. Actually, that is not the fact. They are very, very learned scholars who have put forward the philosophy of devotion. But even if a devotee does not take advantage of their literatures or of his spiritual master, if he is sincere in his devotional service, he is helped by Krishna himself within his heart. So the sincere devotee engaged in Krishna consciousness cannot be without knowledge. The only qualification is that one carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. The Mayavadi philosophers think that without discriminating, one cannot have pure knowledge. For them, this answer is given by the Supreme Lord. Those who are engaged in pure devotional service, even though they be without sufficient education and even without sufficient knowledge of the Vedic principles, are still helped by the Supreme God, as stated in this verse. The Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the Supreme Truth, the Absolute Truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, simply by speculating. For the Supreme Truth is so great that it is not possible to understand Him or to achieve Him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not a lover of the Supreme Truth, he will never understand Krishna or the Supreme Truth. Only by devotional service is the Supreme Truth, Krishna, pleased, and by his inconceivable energy, he can reveal himself to the heart of the pure devotee. The pure devotee always has Krishna within his heart, and with presence of Krishna, who is just like the sun, the darkness of ignorance is at once dissipated. This is a special mercy rendered to the pure devotee by Krishna. Due to the condemnation of material association through many, many millions of births, one's heart is always covered with the dust of materialism. But when one engages in devotional service and constantly chants Hare Krishna, the dust quickly clears and one is elevated to the platform of pure knowledge. The ultimate goal, Vishnu, can be attained only by this chant and by devotional service, and not by mental speculation or argument. The pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious, because when he removes the darkness from his heart, everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotees. This is the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. By studying Bhagavad Gita, one can become a soul completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord and engage himself in pure devotional service. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. Om Agyanathanandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namasute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vedavareshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamani Hari Priya Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namo Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tesam evan pampatam aham akanajam tamaha Nashami atma bhavasto jnana dipena bhashvataha. To show the special mercy, I, dwelling in their hearts, destroyed with the shining lamp of knowledge, the darkness born of ignorance. So, the first point that we have to understand here is what is this knowledge that Krishna is talking about. This text is 10.11. It is the last shlok of the Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. 10.8, 10.9, 10.10 and 10.11. These 4 shlokas comprise the entire Bhagavad Gita. And here we are now on the last verse of this Chaturshloki Bhagavad Gita. So what does Krishna mean here when he says knowledge from the heart? So normally knowledge is a function of the brain. Knowledge is actually coming where? It's in the brain. So what does Krishna actually mean when he's saying that this knowledge from the heart? What does that mean? What does knowledge from the heart mean? So the knowledge of the heart is the knowledge about the most worthy object of our love. So when this knowledge illumines our heart, we will see clearly that Krishna alone is the best object of our love. And one may be thinking, okay, so if Krishna is the best object of our love, then what about all the other things in our life? Can we not love anything else? Can I not love my family? Can I not love my nation? Can I not love my neighbors? No. When we understand that the best object to love is Krishna, then automatically we see everything in this world, our own family, our own community, our own nation, everything in connection to Krishna. And what is that connection? That connection is knowing that every single person that you have a relationship with is actually a soul. They are all souls. They are all part and parcel of Krishna. So they are all on their own journey of spiritual evolution. And so when you look at it from this point of view, you will see everything in your life, the things that you love, to be in connection with Krishna. It's not that you're competing Krishna with anything else, but rather everything else is pointing you towards loving Krishna. So how do we understand that? So, say you have a person, a very close family member. Say you have a child. Everyone thinks that, oh, this is my child. But no, it's actually a soul, an individual soul who has come into the body of your child, as a child of yours. So when you think of it that this is not my child, but this is actually another soul, and it is my responsibility to make sure that that soul progresses towards its spiritual journey, then you'll be very careful with your dealings with your child. You will have almost unconditional dealings because you really want to help them in their own spiritual journey. You don't have any expectations from them. You just want them to evolve on their journey towards the highest goal of life, which is to attain Krishna Prema. So knowing all these relationships on the basis of your own relationship with Krishna, or with your knowledge of Krishna, it makes everything else very smooth. There's no unmet expectations there. There's no selfishness involved there. It's only out of pure responsibility that you're doing this, out of pure duty. And that creates the best environment for the most unconditional love, when you have no expectations attached to that. So, another way to think about it is, say you have a desire to secure a dream job. You've been applying and you have not been getting any luck in securing that position. We can think of this, if you think about this from the point that, oh, Krishna is controlling my destiny, surely he has got something better and something bigger planned for me. That is why he's not giving me this opportunity right now. Maybe I'm looking at it from a very narrow viewpoint. But Krishna is looking at it from a holistic viewpoint, and especially from a spiritual viewpoint. That I will only give him something that will help him evolve spiritually, to progress spiritually, to come back to me. So that way, when you have that sort of thinking, then that knowledge helps you to determine and see the world differently. That knowledge that Krishna gives you, or this thought of consciousness of how to interpret different scenarios, this is his special mercy to be able to understand his divine presence in your life. But we ought to be ready to accept it. That is what's missing, is that we are not ready to accept his divine plan when we are just sticking to our own plans. So that's why that knowledge is not illuminating in our hearts right now. Now, I mentioned about Krishna's special mercy, but his mercy can be shown in two different ways. There's one way which is known as the direct way and the indirect way. There are two ways. So what is the direct way? And so the direct way is he will guide you as a Paramatma within you. Many times you find that you have something known as a sixth sense, or there's an inner call to do something or not to do something. That call is coming from the Paramatma. Like many people think it's like, the angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other shoulder. That angel on one shoulder is Krishna speaking to you to not do certain things or to do certain things. That inner feeling or inner voice is actually the voice of the Paramatma, trying to move you towards doing the right thing. So the Paramatma is also known as the Chaitanya Guru. He is a guru within. He helps guide the individual towards the right path. And there have been many instances. I was listening to a story of one book distributor in the UK, and he was distributing the books, and he stopped one lady, and the lady stopped and was talking to this devotee, and this devotee presented her with the Bhagavad Gita, and she's like, she removed from her purse a small chit of a shopping list, and in the shopping list, one thing that she had come out on that day to shop was the Bhagavad Gita. It's because, and she was telling that devotee that, yesterday I was actually watching a movie, and in the movie there was a scene where there was like a library in back, and I saw the Bhagavad Gita lying on the library, and I was very intrigued. I was like, I want to get that book. I want to see if I can get that book. And lo and behold, the next day only, a devotee came in front of her and gave her the book. So Krishna is already sitting in the heart. He had heard the desire of that lady that I want to read the Bhagavad Gita. And the next day, it was such arranged that she met a devotee doing book distribution and got the Gita in her hand. So that way the Paramatma is always there, is living within us and is listening to our desires. And any slight indication that it gets that the soul wants to know more about me, he will make all the arrangements so that that soul gets to him. Okay, so that's one example of Krishna's mercy, of direct mercy as a Paramatma. The second and the third are the scriptures and the holy name. So now the scriptures and the holy name, they are like Krishna himself. There is no difference between Krishna the person, Krishna's words, which is the Bhagavad Gita, or Krishna's holy name, which is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu even says in the Shishtakam that Krishna has invested all his energies in these holy names. So there is no difference between the holy name, between the scriptures, or the Shabdas, revealed Shabdas, or Krishna himself. So if we associate with reading the Bhagavad Gita and doing our chanting, that is our way of constantly being in contact with Krishna. And this is actually based on a verse that is there in the Shriman Bhagavatam in 1.2.17. So the first canto, chapter 2, text number 17. Shunvatam Swakata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtana Hridayantasto Hi Abhadrani Viduno Shruhit Satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma in everyone's heart and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So you can see that Krishna as a Paramatma is going to bestow all the is going to bestow upon the devotee special mercy to be able to understand him and understand his messages clearly. And when they're properly heard and chanted, that will automatically cleanse the desire of material enjoyment in the devotee's heart. Now what is the indirect way? So the direct way we had said was the Paramatma, scriptures and holy name. And now the indirect way is to get it from a bona fide spiritual master, which can be a Diksha Guru or a Shiksha Guru. So we can also get Krishna's mercy from the devotees of Krishna, because Krishna is Bhakta Vatsal. He is bound by his devotees. So if the devotees favor somebody, automatically that person also gets Krishna's favor and Krishna's mercy. And he says so himself in chapter 4, text number 34, where he encourages Arjuna to try and inquire from a bona fide spiritual master. He says, Tad vidim pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnaninas tattva darshana. Just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So this is very important, because this knowledge means what? This knowledge means devotion. It means the seed of bhakti. That is what's called knowledge here in this case. It is and it can be bestowed upon by a spiritual master who is a devotee of Krishna. So we have one particular thing that we want to note here, is that to get Krishna's mercy, there's only one condition, and that condition is to sincerely carry out devotional service in full Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, you will not get this mercy. You need to be sincerely carrying out devotional service and in full Krishna consciousness. So in the Prabhupada it is said that the pure devotee does not have to worry about the material necessities of life. He need not be anxious, because when he removes the darkness from his heart, Everything is provided automatically by the Supreme Lord, who is pleased by the loving devotional service of the devotee. As the Lord takes charge, one becomes completely free from all kinds of materialistic endeavors. And this is very similar to a previous text we did, chapter 9, text number 29, where Krishna says that I am partial to my devotees. He is impartial to everyone, but he is partial to his devotees. But that does not mean that he is partial. It just means that he is reciprocal. So if you choose to take 10 steps towards Krishna, he will also reciprocate by taking 10 steps towards you. And if you do not want to, if you don't have a connection with Krishna, he will let you be independent and enjoy your free will and your free desire to enjoy the world, the material world, without him there. So without him interfering. So we have this purpose. But this doesn't mean that we don't do any nonsense and just say that, oh, just because I'm a devotee of Krishna, I don't need to work, I don't need to do anything, he will take care of me. No, that's not the case. You just have to be sincere in your devotional service and responsible. Then only will Krishna take full care of you and bestow his special mercy. So there's this one story of that I've heard. There was this one lady, an old devotee lady, and she was serving at the temple. And she had no one to look after her. She had no family. She was just on her own. And there was one man, an atheistic man, who said that this woman needs some protection. I don't know why she is begging in front of the Lord. She needs to have somebody to look after her. So he approached this lady and said that why are you living like this? Why don't you go to somebody, go to an orphanage, and somebody take care of you? He said, no, Krishna is going to take care of me. He says, what Krishna? There is no Krishna. Because this man was atheistic. He did not believe in God. The lady said, no, Krishna will take care of me. You don't worry about me. Thank you for your kind consideration, but I will be okay. So this atheistic man said, no, I need to prove her wrong. I need to prove to her that Krishna does not exist. So what he does is, he tells his driver to make sure that you send a few bags of ingredients so that she can take it and cook for herself. I said, okay. So he started giving this bag of ingredients and giving it to this old lady. And so the lady would accept it and say, thank you so much. And she would take it to her room and she'll cook for oneself and eat. And then winter came, and then the atheist man said, no, okay, now it's winter, also give her a blanket so that she can use to keep herself warm. So this driver said, okay, fine. He got the blanket, he gave the blanket to this old lady. The lady said, thank you for your kind gesture. And she accepted it and she went to her room and spent winter there. So over 6 months, every day this driver would give something or the other to this old lady. And finally, after 6 months, this man came back to her and he said that, oh, how are you doing now? So the lady said, oh, I'm doing fine, I'm doing very well. And she asked, like, so who provided all these things to you? She said, Krishna provided it to me. She said, no, you're a fool. I provided these things to you through my driver. And this old lady said that, no, Krishna acted through you to give me the stuff that I needed. So you have not done anything. Krishna has inspired you to think of me that way and to provide for me all the services. So this man lost it. And like, I cannot change her mind. So this conviction that Krishna takes care of his devotees by using even atheistic people to fulfill his his protection for his devotees is something that is quite remarkable. And it's quite inconceivable. And finally, there's one more point that I wanted to discuss was in the purport, Prabhupada says in the Mayavadis, they claim that the bhaktas are one, philosophically naive, and that two, that they're sentimentalists. But both of these are baseless claims or accusations. So there's a story of Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. If you look even in the starting of the Gita, Prabhupada actually dedicates his Bhagavad Gita to this personality known as Srila Baladeva Vidyabhushan. So now what's so special about this personality? So this is around the 17th or 18th century. There was a king of Jaipur known as King Savai Singh Rajput, and he was a Gaudiya Vaishnava. He was a devotee. And in his kingdom, there was the deity was Lord Govindaji, and Gaudiya Vaishnavas, they were serving this deity. And then there was a sect of Vaishnavas called Ramanandi sect, and they accused the king that these people are not fit to worship Govindaji. Why? Because Gaudiya Vaishnavism, they did not have an authentic commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. And so the king sent a secret message to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who was in Vrindavan, and said that, okay, so this has happened, but now Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, he was very aged, so he could not move. So what he did was he sent this young devotee, Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, and told him to go and see what the matter is. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan came, and he was told that Gaudiya Vaishnavism is a bogus sampradaya. It does not have any authorized commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. So he said that, no, give me a few days and I will present it to you. So Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan, he spent a whole night weeping in front of Govindaji. And then in his dream, Govindaji came into his dream and said, you start writing a commentary and I will make sure that it is undefeatable. So the next day he started writing, and within a few days he had written his entire commentary on the Vedanta Sutras. And then there was a big debate between the Ramanandi sect and Srila Baldev Vidyabhushan. And guess what? It was so concise, it was so perfect. There was no hint of any gap in the knowledge or in the understanding. And all the Ramanandi sect, they wanted to fall at the feet of Baladev Vidyabhushan and become his disciple. But then he declined and he rejected, saying, no, I did not bring this as a way to defeat your sect, because this Ramanandi sect was part of the Sri Sampradaya, which is an authorized Sampradaya. There are 4 authorized Sampradayas. The Rudra Sampradaya, Sri Sampradaya, the Brahma Sampradaya, and then the Kumar Sampradaya, the 4 Kumar Sampradaya. These are the 4 authorized Sampradayas. So he rejected taking them as disciples because they already belong to one authorized Sampradaya. But this just goes to show that he had created a commentary on Gaudiya Vaishnavism which was perfect and it was authorized. So it is not that the devotees are philosophically naive. No, it's not that. This is proved. And this is even proved in all the different acharyas that we have had in this sampradaya. We have had scholars like Prabhupada's guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was a scholar and and then even Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he was a high-class lawyer at the same time as being a first-class devotee. So it is not true that devotees are philosophically naive. No, they have realized what the philosophy is, but now they put that philosophy into practice. The philosophy is only meant for you to surrender to Krishna, and bhakti is showing you how to surrender to Krishna. So bhaktas are putting to practice the highest knowledge that is of devotion. And even in the last text in 10.10, Krishna says that Bhakti Yoga is also known as Buddhi Yoga. So what does Buddhi mean? Buddhi means intelligence. And what does intelligence mean? Intelligence means to do the right things. And any action that helps to cut material entanglements, that action, when performed with that understanding, is called Buddhi. And so Bhakti Yoga is totally about that. It's all about performing activities that cut material attachment, at the same time grow your spiritual attachment to Krishna and take you back to the spiritual world. So Bhakti Yoga is also known as Buddhi Yoga. That's according to from the last text that we did in 10.10. And finally, there is this one very nice wholesome story of Lord Chaitanya when he was traveling all over India. And in this part, he was traveling in South India, and there was this one Ranganatha temple. And in that temple, there was this there was this one illiterate Brahmana. There was one illiterate Brahmana, and he was crying. He was keeping on crying while he was reading the Bhagavad Gita. Now, all the rest of the Brahmanas knew that he is illiterate. So I don't know why he's crying while reading the Bhagavad Gita. It's not like he understands anything. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to him and asked him, "Hey, why are you crying? What are you doing?" He said that, "Oh, my spiritual master has ordered me to continue reading the Bhagavad Gita, but it is my misfortune that I do not know how to read and write. But because this is the order of my spiritual master, I am trying how to read the Bhagavad Gita." And he was actually reading the Bhagavad Gita upside down. He didn't even know like which side is the right side up. He was reading it upside down. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, "Okay, if that's your order, but then if you do not understand what is being written, why are you crying?" And he says that, "Oh, I'm crying because whenever I see the cover of the Bhagavad Gita and I see that Krishna is taking on the role as Partha Sarthi, I'm reminded of his Bhakta Vatsala, that he is ready to do anything for his devotee. And this magnanimous nature of Krishna makes me cry." And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at that moment praised him. And he said that your reading of the Bhagavad Gita is perfect. You don't need to read any further because you have understood the essence of the Bhagavad Gita. The essence of the Bhagavad Gita is that if you surrender yourself to Krishna, Krishna is also surrendered to his devotees. And he is Bhakta Vatsala. So that is how we see that bhaktas, they don't need to be scholars, they don't need to know all the Vedas, because they've understood the purpose of the Vedas. The purpose of the Vedas is to surrender yourself to Krishna. So if you've understood that, then all the knowledge beforehand is not needed. Just like when you are learning an instrument, you're learning an instrument to be able to play it fluently. But once you have learned how to play it fluently, you don't need to know, okay, what is this note called, or what is that note called, what is this note called. No, you only need it when you're trying to learn the musical instrument. But once you're expert in it, then all the thing is not needed. So all this Vedic literature is not needed once you know what the purpose of the Vedic literature is. Yeah? And finally, the last point that Krishna actually emphasizes in this text is that mental speculation is hopeless. He says that the Lord tells Arjuna that basically there is no possibility of understanding the supreme truth, the absolute truth, the supreme personality of Godhead, simply by speculating. For the supreme truth is so great that it is not possible to understand Him or to achieve Him simply by making a mental effort. Man can go on speculating for several millions of years, and if he is not devoted, if he is not in love of the supreme truth, he will never understand Krishna or the supreme truth. So it just goes to show that any amount of mental speculation to try and understand God is not going to work. And this is also added by the fact that the second text of this chapter, Krishna says that even great sages and demigods fail in understanding me through their mental speculation. And why does he say that? It's because I am the source of knowledge. So the created can never know the Creator fully. They can only know the Creator if the Creator reveals Himself to the created. How do we understand this? Suppose there's a son and a father, or a child and a father, and a parent. The parents will know everything about the child because they are the ones who created the child. But the child will have no idea about the full totality of the parents, because the child has not seen the parents' childhood, he's not seen the parents' adolescence, he's not seen the parents' youth, he's only seen from a certain point onwards. And even then, he's not seen it completely. So, we can say that the created can never really know the Creator. Only when the Creator reveals to the created what happened before, will the created know what the true picture is. Otherwise, it's impossible to know. So that is the whole gist of this text. The first point was that what is real knowledge? Real knowledge is the knowledge that Krishna is the most lovable object, or the highest object of love that we have. That is real knowledge. Secondly, we talked about was Krishna's special mercy to the devotees. And this special mercy can be available in the direct way and indirect way. Direct way through the Paramatma scriptures and holy name, and indirectly by the bona fide spiritual masters. And then we tried to refute the claims of the Mayavadis that bhaktas, they are very intelligent, and at the same time they are not sentimental, but they are very practical, because they have applied the knowledge of the Vedas in their own life, and they're making their life perfect that way. And finally, is that mental speculation is hopeless. So that is the gist of this text. If anyone's got any questions, please say. That's Granth Raj Bhagavad Gita ki Jai.